710 ESPN Seattle presents Brock and Salk's Wrap Up.
Powered by the law offices of Heidi Hunt.
The season ended today. The Seahawks would draft 8th next year. What's available at 8? Might be more than you think. All right, Brock, you start looking at what the Seahawks could be looking at if the season were to end today and the draft were to be there. They would draft 8th. Okay, now that's assuming no changes between now and the end of the year. You start thinking about 8th. You know that there are 3 big-time quarterbacks in the draft. You're not going to get Andrew Luck, obviously, at number 8. But what about the other 2 guys? What about Barkley? What about Landry Jones? You know what? They're actually a lot more attainable than you might think with the 8th pick in the draft.
Yeah, that's right. John Clayton hit on this a little bit with us last week. And as each week goes by, and we're an organization here in Seattle that's looking and needing and will be drafting that quarterback, it's fun to see what's going on around you. And the number of teams, Mike, that are playing poor football that have a very young franchise quarterback they've already invested in, and a couple of them in St. Louis that have offered and given huge dollars in Arizona to Kevin Cobb that I think do afford you many opportunities if you can be in that top 10.
Carolina, they're not going after one of these young quarterbacks. Jacksonville, they've already committed to Blaine Gabbert, right? Minnesota, unless it was Andrew Luck, they've already committed to their guy in Christian Ponder. They're not going to draft the Landry Jones. So, all right, maybe you end up with the number 2 quarterback or the number 3 quarterback. You're also not far away from being able to trade up just a couple of spots, maybe not to number 1, but what if you trade up from 8 to 6 and that gets you your guy, or 8 to 4, and you don't need to give up that much to do it?
No, we're going to have a lot of quarterback conversations. I think from here until April, there's also wild cards. There's also the Washington Redskins who can mortgage their farm to move into that top 10. Point being, if you stick around this top 10 with all the other teams that have already invested in their quarterback, I think there's going to be a good option for your Seattle Seahawks.